First, I'd like to thank President Betts and the university for including me on such a momentous occasion. I am truly, truly grateful. The oldest form of education for Cherokee people can be found in our traditional stories. And so in honor of the female seminary, I went looking for stories of foolish women and the lessons they learned. And I found many, many stories of boys behaving badly. Not so much for the girls. From which I can only conclude that in the old days, Cherokee women were perfect. But then I remembered this story. And since the female seminary students called themselves the Rosebuds, including my dear great aunt, Jenny Ross Cobb, graduate from the female seminary, the first Indian woman professional photographer. So in honor of all the Rosebuds, they say that on the first group of Cherokees who left from the old country to travel what would become known as the Trail of Tears, the very first group, leaving in June of 1838, they were supposed to travel by the rivers, but it had been a winter and a spring of drought, and the rivers were low. And it was the sickly season, and weak and ill from months in the camps, the people began to die, the very old and the very young. And they say that after days of such suffering, the hearts of the women broke. They were no longer strong for their families. They did not care for the little ones. They walked every day as though in a daze. And at the end of the day, they would sit. And watching the women, the men, they came together to pray. They said, "Creator, the strength of the Cherokee nation is the strength of our women. If they do not survive, we will not survive." And so Creator spoke to the men. He said, "Tell your women in the morning to look back at the trail they have watered with their tears. I will show them. I will show them what they need to remember." And so the next morning, the men told the women what Creator had said, and they felt better, and they went about preparing for the day's long, long walk. And as they prepared to walk away, they looked behind them, and springing from the ground were strong green vines shooting into the air, reaching down, touching the earth, roots sinking deep. The green vines grew back along the trail they had followed. And then they burst into beautiful white blooms. White, the Cherokee color for peace. And the women saw this and they remembered. They remembered that they must not lose hope. And so they continued their journey, as did the detachments that followed, watching the green vines with the beautiful white flowers growing back to cover the mountains of our homeland. And today that little Cherokee rose reminds us all, let the roots of hope sink deep in your heart, and let them always bloom in the white flowers of peace.